Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description and every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say I'm watching so-and-so show, and then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it, and that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic, one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. One mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 3, Episode 8 of FX's Dave, entitled Met Gala. Title's pretty straightforward here. Dave gets an invite to the Met Gala and decides that this is the perfect opportunity to rebrand post-fake death and educate this rich Hollywood elite on the big problem of climate change. Which, just side note, I think it's funny that climate change is the thing that Dave decides that he wants to do this big stunt around, when if I could cite one issue in the world that Hollywood is hyper aware of, it's fucking climate change. But anyway, that's what the title is based on, and that's what gets us to the Met Gala. But I guess how I want to approach this episode, really all there is to really talk about is Dave. Dave as the character. I'm going to talk a little bit about Gala toward the end, give a couple thoughts, but really we're going to focus on Dave. Probably not going to be here too long, but there is something that I think is a pretty big takeaway from this episode that I personally was not a big fan of, which I'm sure for you guys to hear me say that I'm going to be critical of something surrounding this show, I bet some of you guys' heads just fucking exploded. But I did still enjoy this episode. The criticism that I have, I'm gonna fucking give it because that's what I do. But I still, hey, I love this fucking show. I enjoyed this episode, but let's get into it. Dave decides he wants to rebrand post-fake death, and he wants to be a soldier for climate change, so he plans to pull off some sort of extravagant outfit / stunt at the Met Gala. Dave, Mike, and Allie decide that he's gonna wear a suit with this something of a ripcord attached to the back. He pulls the ripcord from the back, and this suit is gonna inflate into this massive globe, potentially hurting many people, but fuck it. I mean, it's just Met Gala douchebags anyway, right? So when Dave arrives at the Met Gala, we see all sorts of celebs: Megan Fox and MGK, Travis Barker. He's greeted by Don Cheadle, who, I mean, I can't imagine anything cooler in life than smoking weed with Don Cheadle and Denzel. I mean, I can't, like, I would turn down anything to do that. Like, I might even, if somebody, the only thing that would stop me from doing that, if somebody say, hey, here's courtside tickets to a NBA Finals game that the Pistons are in, I'd be like, all right, fuck Don Cheadle and Denzel. Anything else? I'm smoking weed with Don Cheadle and Denzel. And even then, even the Pistons thing, I'm thinking about it. Like, can I smoke weed with them and watch the Pistons game on TV? I don't know a human alive who turns that down. Unless it's just off the strength of, like, I don't smoke weed. But even then, I'm like, I don't have to smoke it. I can hang with them while they smoke it. Maybe I'll get a little high. I got to smoke it. I got to get nothing in my lungs. Anyway. Then, of course, there's Jack Harlow. And if you guys recall, earlier in the season, Jack Harlow was mentioned in comparison to Dave. And I told you guys that I had a friend, and he told me that he didn't like Jack Harlow. And this was tongue in cheek. I don't think he dislikes Jack Harlow, but he said he didn't like Jack Harlow because he thought that Jack Harlow was Lil Dicky with swag. And I was like, oh, that feels so accurate and so appropriate. And just so in that episode when they compared Jack Harlow to Dave, I was just like, wow, what, like that really blew me away that it was so closely tied to what my friend had randomly said. And then you get this episode with Jack Harlow fully fucking in it, and I'm just like, this all felt very fucking meta to me. Like, I'm like, my friend must not have, like, I thought my friend came up with that on his own. Like, oh, that's just Lil Dicky with swag. That must be a prevalent opinion in the hip hop community that I'm just not part of, because I don't know. I'm doing this shit now. I don't have time to listen to music. I'm making fucking videos for you guys all the fucking time. But yeah, if that's a thing in the hip hop, social media circles, I didn't know about it, but it has to be, because I can't believe everybody else is watching this and going, oh wow. Like, I feel like everybody had to have known this was a thing. Like, and because it'd be too big of a coincidence for one of my favorite shows to very directly showcase something that I had in like a personal conversation with a friend. Like, that's too much of a coincidence. But anyway, Jack Harlow's there, and the stuff between Dave and Jack Harlow is so fucking good in this episode that I'm more than willing to overlook the handful of issues that I had. Like, whatever Jack's obsession is with smelling things, like, that was such a unique and weird thing to have him really lean into, and he did lean into it. And it just made for some great moments. Like, I love the first time he done when he sniffs him, he's like, you stink, bitch. And he goes, I like that. I'm like, the fuck? And then he just keeps going. He's like, you got beef? I got a whole slab. He like, grabs his dick. I'm like, what is this? Then the exclamation point, pussy. And I turned like, that's beautiful. Beautiful stuff from Mr. Harlow. I like that gang, gang, gang joint on your new EP if you see this, Jack. Anyway, I guess I was lying about not listening to a lot of hip hop, whatnot. But since John Cheadle, since Don Cheadle prevented Dave from blowing his suit at the entrance with the whole proposition of the weed smoking with Denzel, Allie tells him that he has to do it with this during this bathroom selfie. Like, he has to get in on the bathroom selfie and do it then. Dave ends up meeting Rachel McAdams, of all people. Like, I was really shocked to see Rachel. Like, I don't know why, but this doesn't feel like something Rachel McAdams would do. But clearly it is, because she's here. But he ends up meeting Rachel McAdams, and they kind of hit it off. Like, they have some shockingly good chemistry. And I don't mean like, oh, the Dave character and Rachel McAdams within the show have chemistry as people who could potentially date. Like, no, I mean like Lil Dicky and Rachel McAdams had good chemistry as actors there. Like, it felt very genuine. And Rachel agrees to help corral people for the selfie and tells Dave to go head into the bathroom ahead of time so that he's already there when they arrive to take the picture. Everyone arrives for the selfie after Don Cheadle had been in there farting and planning some other shit. And Dave comes out of the stall real fast and he immediately is like, hey, time for the selfie. And I don't know why he did that, but that would clue in anybody, and it of course clues in Jack, that he must have been waiting in the bathroom for the selfie the whole time. And Jack calls it out. Dave denies it, saying he was in there shitting, but you can't lie to somebody who likes smells, and particularly bad ones, as much as Jack Harlow apparently does. This motherfucker goes fully into the, like, I don't need to go into the stall. Like, if somebody comes out and was like, yeah, I was just in there shitting, I'm gonna know it before you say it, because as soon as I walked in there, I smelled it. Jack goes into the fucking stall. Like, I don't know. Like, did he put his face in the toilet? I wouldn't be surprised. Like, he's in there smelling around. And of course, a guy with an affinity for bad smells like Jack Harlow, he knows, like, nah, you ain't shit in here. But they do end up posing for the selfie. And just as Dave is about to pull the ripcord and blow the suit, Rachel McAdams hops into the picture. And of course, he changes his mind because he doesn't want to blow up Rachel McAdams. He just met her and he thought she was nice and cute and he liked her. So Rachel thought the same thing, and she asked him out, which I was like, does that happen? Like, I feel like if I got famous, right? Like, say if y'all fucked with my videos, right? And I got famous, not famous, but like, for like as famous as somebody who talks shit on YouTube can get. Well, no, actually, that bar is actually pretty high. But like, whatever the case may be, if I, maybe I started interviewing actors or whatever, I got popping enough to where it's like, okay, people are gonna come on here and, hey, I'm interviewing Rachel McAdams today. Like, if I went to a thing and Rachel McAdams was there, like, I don't feel like female Hollywood celebrities are just gonna hit on you like that. Like, I felt like she went up and like straight up hit on him. Like, I feel like, I don't know, they're not that forward, right? Not that I'm not trying to imply that's a bad thing. It's not, but and I'm not even saying that like that was a thing that I found implausible. It's just me ranting. Like, I wonder if that like would she actually do something like that? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like Hollywood celebrities would be too like full of themselves to be a regular fucking person and flirt with somebody. But anyway, Rachel, like I said, she asked him out while Robin is literally calling him, and he sends her to voicemail so that Rachel can lock in her phone number. And when Robin later asks how it went, it being the Met Gala, he starts to type out a message, presumably saying like, yo, I'm hanging out. I just hung out with Rachel McAdams. And then he deletes it because he knows he's being a piece of shit. And he deletes it. It's just like, I was uneventful. Here's why I didn't like this turn of events. It's not because I like Robin or I don't like Rachel or anything like that. It's not even the fact that Dave did a shitty thing to Robin. Like, okay, so earlier in the episode, Allie got fired for snapping on a student. The student had posted a TikTok there where he's talking about her big ass titties and how he wants to fuck her. And she doesn't like this. She gets pissed off. She fires the student. She's on his face. You know, oh, you want to fuck me, Bo? You want to fuck me? You want to fuck my big titties? Now, granted, the principal seeing this out of context is like, yo, this is wild. But still, no matter how bad that is, you can't talk to a student like that. This is undoubtedly an underage person. Whether or not you want to call a 17-year-old a child or not, is someone who's underage. Principal sees this, and Allie gets an email that's saying basically she's been fired while she is with Dave and Mike trying to decide on Dave's climate change outfit. She doesn't tell him what happened. Now, this is a big moment for him because he's trying to rebrand after faking his death. Well, that made it sound like he did it on purpose, but you know what I mean. He doesn't need to be distracted by her worries. But she is, of course, incredibly excited when he offers his CEO morality job, of course, because she needs work. She doesn't tell him that, but she needs work. Then when Robin is calling Dave, because he's so enamored with the idea of dating a celebrity, because again, he loves that status, right? He claims he doesn't, but he loves that status. He loves that attention. We saw him just last season. Was he into Doja Cat or was he into the idea of Doja Cat? Either way, we know this is a guy that is obsessed with, I won't say obsessed, but at least values or has interest in that belonging with the elite, right? So because of this, he does the shitty thing to the girl, Robin, who is perfect for him. And we're still not the why I don't like this turn of events. Dave can be shitty. There's presumably 2 episodes left at least. He could still be redeemed. But Allie's putting her own problems to the side to support Dave in his pivotal moment and to not bring negativity or conflict or anything like that into this moment because they all know how fragile he is. While Dave is being selfish and narcissistic in a way that can hurt Robin. Wasn't that the theme of the entire previous season? That's what bothered me about this. Why is Dave reverted back to his old behaviors this late in a season following a season that already thoroughly explored that concept? That's what bothered me about this episode. So, like, that's the main thing. And again, like, I really liked his whole thing, like the whole thing with like thematically the idea of him choosing, I don't want to say choosing Rachel McAdams over Robin. That might not be a choice that is available to him. But no, I like that story, I guess, or that direction. I just don't like the idea of revisiting the same character flaws that were seemingly already solved. But I don't know what the final 2 episodes are going to look like. Maybe I watch next week and I'm just like, oh, okay, now I see why they were doing this. And it wasn't for the reason that you were bitching about in your videos. So we'll see. But that did bother me. But also what bothered me, and this is not a huge thing, but Gator gets dropped off at a mental health summit, a panel that he's supposed to speak on. And I guess this is my fault, but I made the mistake of assuming that when I saw in the description that Gator was going to speak on a mental health panel, that this was going to be another deep and emotional, heartfelt Gator moment, when it was really just a vehicle to get him to say cognitive dissonance out of context for a laugh. I don't know. I feel like the stuff with Gator and mental health is important, and I felt like they were kind of building up to something that was going to be important, and it ended up just being a bad gag. And like, I'm not salty about it, but Gator speaking at a mental health conference sets certain expectations that were not met. But I mean, he said he was going to win the panel, and it looks like he did win it, because it looks like he's going to get a spot on a reality show called Nut House. Mind you, it's the captions. It's spelled Haus. I don't know if Germans are making it or something, but that's what the captions had. So I'm going to close out with a couple thoughts. Dave and Robin talk about visiting his elephant, the elephant that she got him in last episode. I'd be surprised if that doesn't actually happen by the end of the season. And then the third thing I didn't like. Mike and Ava argue about their own relationship regarding feelings versus casual sex, but they mask it as like advice to Dave, which is such an overused tactic in comedies that I could barely push out a laugh. Like, I'm just like, I'm seeing this thing where someone is like pretending to give advice, but it's really them discussing their own personal situation so many fucking times that I'm truly shocked that a show of this caliber allowed a concept that has been done over and over and over and over and over and over and over to be in this show. Like, that kind of surprised me. But that's all I got for this week. I mean, the episode was solid. It wasn't great. Probably my least favorite of the season, but still a really solid show. Great season so far. I'm sure these final 2 episodes are going to kill it. And I will see you guys next week for episode 9, presumably the penultimate. I'm not 100% certain that there's 10. There probably is. But until then, peace.